At 02:15 hours on a moonless night, a silent flotilla ascended into the dense air over eastern Ukraine. This was not a traditional drone swarm, but a calculated blend of 19th century physics and 21st century artificial intelligence. High-altitude military weather balloons, stripped of their standard meteorological payloads, were released into the prevailing easterly wind currents. Their destination was the Metafrax Chemicals plant in the Perm region, an industrial fortress located nearly 1,000 miles deep inside Russian territory. Each balloon carried a specialized payload, utilizing solar panels to power advanced sensor arrays and artificial intelligence-assisted navigation modules. This silent vanguard was engineered by the security service of Ukraine's Alpha unit, designed specifically to bypass the dense electromagnetic warfare networks that had increasingly complicated low-altitude drone strikes. They rose at 3 meters per second, slipping past early warning radars that were desperately scanning the horizon for low-flying aluminum airframes, completely ignoring the slow, radar-absorbent spheres drifting upward into the stratosphere. By 04:30 hours, the balloon Vanguard reached an altitude of 25,000 feet, catching the high-speed jet streams flowing toward the Ural Mountains. 300 miles away, Russian operators manning a podlet radar system stared at their screens, their algorithms optimized to detect the fast, low-altitude signatures of cruise missiles and kamikaze drones. The balloons, constructed from specialized synthetic polymers, presented a radar cross-section virtually indistinguishable from background atmospheric clutter. Moving at exactly the speed of the ambient wind, they generated zero thermal signature, rendering infrared tracking systems completely useless. Inside the command centers, Russian air defense personnel logged a quiet night, unaware that a fleet of silent carriers was actively mapping their blind spots. These balloons acted as a high-altitude Trojan horse, mapping the specific frequencies of Russian air defense batteries, quietly transmitting this data back to operators in Kyiv via encrypted burst transmissions. This integration of low-cost aerostats with sophisticated artificial intelligence represents a paradigm shift in deep strike operational doctrine. By utilizing wind currents, the Ukrainians essentially bypassed the severe fuel limitations that normally restrict the operational radius of rotary or fixed-wing drones. As the balloons drifted over the Perm region, nearing the 1,000-mile mark from the Ukrainian border, they approached their primary objective. The Metafrax Chemicals facility in Gubaka was not just a civilian factory, it was a critical node in the Russian military-industrial complex. The plant was responsible for producing massive quantities of methanol, hexamine, urea, urotropine, penterythritol, and formalin. These synthetic resins and chemical compounds are the foundational explosive precursors required for manufacturing solid rocket propellant and high-explosive artillery shells. Destroying this facility would not merely inconvenience the Russian war machine, it would directly sever the chemical supply chain required to maintain their artillery dominance on the front lines. The facility was considered untouchable due to its extreme geographic depth. At precisely 05:12 hours local time, the artificial intelligence modules aboard the balloons calculated the optimal release coordinates based on real-time wind shear data and barometric pressure. Micro-explosive bolts severed the physical connections, dropping a payload of long-range loitering munitions directly over the Gubaka industrial zone. Because these drones were deployed from high altitude directly above the target, they bypassed the outer rings of point defense systems entirely. They initiated a steep, unpowered glide, their electric motors remaining silent to avoid acoustic detection by ground patrols. The target complex below sprawled across several square miles, a maze of highly pressurized pipes, distillation columns, and massive storage tanks holding volatile precursor chemicals. A single miscalculation in the terminal guidance phase would result in the munitions striking reinforced concrete instead of the vulnerable chemical containment vessels. The drones utilized electro-optical sensors to match the industrial layout against preloaded satellite imagery, making minor adjustments to their control surfaces 50 times per second as they plummeted. At 05:15 hours, the lead drone identified the primary hexamine synthesis unit, the heart of the explosive precursor production line. A Russian Pantsir air defense system stationed nearby finally detected the incoming threat as the drone descended below 1,000 feet. But the system required exactly 7 seconds to achieve a firing solution. The drone was only 4 seconds away from impact. At 05:15 and 4 seconds, the warhead penetrated the thin steel roofing of the synthesis facility, detonating its 40-kilogram payload of high explosives directly beside a pressurized line containing superheated methanol. The initial blast wave shattered the surrounding containment vessels, instantly atomizing thousands of gallons of volatile chemicals into a highly combustible vapor cloud. 2 milliseconds later, the ambient heat from the primary explosion ignited this vapor, creating a massive thermobaric secondary blast that ripped the roof off the facility and sent a pillar of fire 300 feet into the pre-dawn sky. The shockwave cascaded through the plant, triggering safety valves that immediately vented more flammable material. By morning, the Metafrax Chemicals plant was paralyzed, its critical infrastructure reduced to a landscape of twisted, burning metal. The Russian Ministry of Defense immediately issued a standard press release, officially claiming that their air defense networks had successfully intercepted and destroyed every single incoming Ukrainian drone over the Perm region. However, thermal imaging satellites and local open-source intelligence confirmed a massive, uncontrollable fire raging at the exact coordinates of the chemical processing units. This deep strike demonstrated a total nullification of Russia's presumed geographic depth advantage. Historically, the Kremlin relied on vast territorial expanses to protect its military-industrial base from enemy action, assuming that factories located 1,000 miles inland were entirely safe from conventional attacks. The security service of Ukraine's Alpha unit had shattered this doctrine, proving that they could deliver precision strikes against irreplaceable chemical logistics nodes anywhere within the Russian Federation, forcing Moscow to urgently reconsider the safety of its deepest industrial assets. Simultaneously, while the fires in the Perm region were still burning, a second coordinated strike package was executing a totally different mission profile over the Black Sea. At 0630 hours, a swarm of low-flying naval and aerial drones converged on the Taman-Naftogaz oil terminal located in the Krasnodar region. This facility represents one of Russia's most critical maritime export hubs, funneling millions of barrels of crude oil and refined petroleum products to global markets. This attack marked the second time in less than 30 days that Ukrainian forces had penetrated the terminal's layered defensive perimeter. The strategy here shifted from degrading military production to inflicting severe financial hemorrhage. The drones skimmed just a few feet above the ocean surface, utilizing the curvature of the earth and wave clutter to hide from coastal radar installations. Their target was not just the physical storage tanks, but the economic confidence of the entire Russian maritime export industry, aiming to hit the terminal right as international oil tankers were maneuvering into their loading positions. The lead munition slammed into a primary pumping manifold at 0645 hours, igniting a petroleum fire that rapidly spread to adjacent refined product pipelines. While the physical damage to the Taman-Naftogaz terminal required millions of dollars to repair, the secondary economic shockwaves were exponentially more devastating. The immediate presence of active combat zones around a major export hub triggered an instantaneous reaction from global maritime insurance syndicates. Premiums for vessels operating in the Black Sea spiked dramatically. Calculations from maritime economists indicated that these insurance rate hikes alone would cost the Russian shadow tanker fleet tens of millions of dollars in additional operating expenses per month. Because these shadow tankers operate on razor-thin margins to bypass international sanctions, the sudden increase in risk premiums severely restricted their ability to profitably export oil. Tanker traffic in the region plummeted as ship captains refused to dock at a terminal that was actively under fire, effectively creating an invisible blockade without Ukraine needing to deploy a single conventional warship. This dual-pronged approach, striking chemical precursors in the Perm region and oil revenue in the Krasnodar region, exemplifies a sophisticated strategy of systematic destruction. By severely damaging the Metafrax plant, Ukraine directly choked the supply of artillery ammunition to the front lines. By simultaneously burning the Taman-Naftogaz terminal, they choked the financial revenue stream required to purchase replacement equipment. The disruption in refined product shipments and the overall drop in oil exports created a compounding crisis for the Russian war economy. The Kremlin found itself bleeding capital, while simultaneously facing critical shortages in explosive materials. The genius of this campaign lies in its asymmetric nature, utilizing low-cost weather balloons and domestically produced drones to inflict billions of dollars in cumulative economic and military damage. This relentless pressure creates a death by 1,000 cuts scenario, weakening Russia's long-term warfighting capacity and setting the stage for significant political leverage in future diplomatic arenas. At 0700 hours, as smoke plumes over the Perm region thickened, Russian electronic warfare battalions frantically analyzed telemetry data. They searched for the signature of weapons that bypassed their billion-dollar defense networks. The genius of the Ukrainian strategy lay in its simplicity. By utilizing weather balloons equipped with solar panels and artificial intelligence navigation, they created an undetectable delivery mechanism. These balloons drifted at altitudes exceeding 30,000 feet, far above the engagement envelopes of standard short-range air defenses like the Pantsir systems. The balloons acted as silent motherships, perfectly insulated from the intense electromagnetic jamming that routinely blinded low-flying drones. This hybrid of 19th-century lift mechanics and modern processing power allowed Ukraine to project force across 1,000 miles of hostile airspace, neutralizing Russia's electronic shield. Meanwhile, the secondary explosions at the Naftogaz oil terminal in the Krasnodar region continued burning through the morning. The physical destruction of the pumping infrastructure was severe, but the true objective was the destabilization of the maritime insurance market. Russian crude oil exports rely heavily on a shadow fleet of aging tankers that operate without standard Western insurance to bypass global price caps. However, these ships still require specialized maritime coverage to enter the Black Sea. Following the second Ukrainian strike in under a month, underwriters immediately reassessed their risk models. Premiums skyrocketed by over 300% overnight. For a shadow fleet handling millions of barrels, this translated into tens of millions of dollars in unexpected monthly overhead. Every inflated premium dollar is removed from the Russian Ministry of Defense's procurement budget, creating a silent economic strangulation. This systematic destruction forces a catastrophic dilemma upon the Russian military command. For decades, their strategic doctrine relied on the vast geographic depth of the Russian Federation to protect critical infrastructure. Plants like Metafrax and Gubaka were considered untouchable sanctuaries, located far beyond the range of conventional artillery or tactical ballistic missiles. Now, with Ukrainian loitering munitions demonstrating a proven strike radius exceeding 1,000 miles, that assumption of safety has evaporated. To protect their remaining chemical production and oil refining assets, Moscow must now consider relocating these massive facilities even further east, towards Siberia. This is an industrial impossibility in the short term, and any attempt to move critical logistics nodes would inevitably cause massive disruptions. Relocating these assets extends supply lines to the Ukrainian front by thousands of miles, introducing fatal inefficiencies into a struggling war machine. The destruction of the hexamine and urea production lines in the Perm region creates a direct and immediate ripple effect on the battlefield. Without these critical synthetic resins and explosive precursors, Russian ammunition plants cannot manufacture the solid rocket propellant required for their multiple launch rocket systems. Nor can they produce the high explosive fillers for their 152mm artillery shells. The timing of the strike is critical, engineered to coincide with peak consumption rates on the front lines. As Russian artillery batteries burn through their existing stockpiles of munitions, the damaged supply chain will fail to replenish them at the required rate. This chemical starvation directly correlates with high casualty figures among Russian infantry units, as they will increasingly lack the artillery support necessary to conduct offensive operations or defend against mechanized counterattacks. The loss of a single factory 1,000 miles away translates directly into lost battles. Ultimately, this relentless campaign of deep strikes serves a strategic purpose extending far beyond immediate tactical victories. As international diplomats prepare for upcoming peace talks in Geneva, the political landscape is heavily influenced by realities on the ground. By demonstrating the consistent ability to inflict catastrophic damage deep inside Russian territory, Ukraine actively dismantles the narrative of its own military exhaustion. The burning ruins of the Metafrax Chemicals plant and the Naftogaz oil terminal serve as undeniable physical proof that Kyiv possesses the technological capability and the strategic will to strike Russia's vital economic and military organs. This fundamentally alters the calculus for the Kremlin. The overarching argument is clear. Continued aggression will result in escalating, unsustainable costs to the Russian state. This systematic degradation of Russia's warfighting capacity strengthens Ukraine's position at the negotiating table, forcing Moscow to face the reality of its vulnerability. At exactly 08:15 hours, the secondary wave of loitering munitions began their terminal descent toward the smoldering Naftogaz oil terminal. Russian air defense crews had been at maximum readiness for over 2 hours, their radar arrays scanning the horizon for any thermal or radar cross-sections. Inside a fortified command bunker, a radar operator noticed a cluster of anomalous returns materializing out of the morning fog. These were not the low-flying naval drones they had anticipated, but aerial assets executing a steep dive from 15,000 feet. The operator immediately relayed the coordinates to a mobile Tor-M2 battery stationed near the primary crude oil storage tanks. The Ukrainian munitions, however, were equipped with updated artificial intelligence flight algorithms that recognize the active radar painting their fuselages. They instantly adjusted their glide paths, initiating a series of randomized evasive maneuvers that forced the Russian fire control computers to constantly recalculate intercept trajectories, burning precious seconds as the distance closed to under 5 miles. By 0816 hours, the Tor-M2 commander authorized a manual engagement, unwilling to trust the struggling automated tracking system. 2 interceptor missiles erupted from their vertical launch tubes, accelerating to Mach 2.8 within a matter of seconds. The missiles streaked upward, their proximity fuses primed to detonate a cloud of high-velocity shrapnel near the targets. But the Ukrainian engineers had anticipated this exact defensive layer. The lead drone released a precisely timed burst of electromagnetic interference, blinding the incoming interceptor's terminal guidance seekers. As the Russian missiles flew blindly through the digitized static, the drone simultaneously executed a sharp 45-degree banking dive toward the ocean surface. The interceptors detonated harmlessly in the empty sky. The drone had now slipped beneath the effective engagement envelope of the radar systems, leveling out at a mere 10 feet above the cresting waves. The Russian crew had expended their best ordnance, and the target was still inbound, moving at maximum speed. At 0817 hours, the surviving drone navigated the final 2 miles toward a secondary cluster of high-capacity crude oil storage tanks. Russian personnel on the ground scrambled for cover as the high-pitched whine of the electric motor cut through the coastal winds. The facility's automated fire suppression systems were already struggling to contain the blazes from the initial morning strike, leaving water pressure dangerously low across the terminal's emergency grid. The artificial intelligence module aboard the drone utilized its optical sensors to scan the storage tanks, specifically searching for structural weak points along the welded seams where the metal was thinnest. It locked onto a massive holding tank containing 80,000 barrels of unrefined crude oil. Exactly 14 seconds later, the munitions slammed directly into the targeted welded seam of the crude oil tank. The 35-pound shaped charge warhead detonated on impact, generating a hypervelocity jet of molten copper that sliced through the steel hull with terrifying ease. The extreme heat instantly ignited the pressurized crude oil inside, triggering a massive boil-over event. A colossal wall of burning petroleum erupted outward, spilling over the secondary containment berms and flooding the adjacent access roads. The thermal radiation was so intense that it began melting the rubber tires of emergency vehicles parked over 400 yards away. This catastrophic structural failure initiated a chain reaction that forced the terminal director to immediately halt all loading operations across the entire port. By 1200 hours, the strategic reality of the morning's coordinated assaults had fully materialized for the Russian general staff. While emergency crews battled the raging petroleum infernos in the Krasnodar region, logistics officers were frantically assessing the ashes of the Metafrax Chemicals plant nearly 1,000 miles to the north. They were staring at an impossible mathematical equation. The frontline artillery batteries were consuming thousands of explosive shells per day, but the primary domestic source for the necessary chemical precursors had just been completely vaporized.